Thank you. Hello, everyone. It's good to be back here with you at your main event. I've been here last year, but I don't know when this year passed and flew away very quickly. We are beyond some of the crises, but we are not out of the woods yet. If we look, for example, on the impact we feel from the illegal war in Ukraine with our airspace used just in 80%. The good news is that travel is up, with traffic likely to reach an average around 95% of 2019 levels in July and in August this year. The bad news is that this will inevitably increase the risk of delays and skies become more crowded than ever. Of course, we would be in a much better place had our single European sky reform proposals been taken forward, allowing us not only to reduce congestion, but also to ensure CO2 savings of up to 10% through more fuel-efficient routes. I must tell you that I still don't understand why our member states, being so keen in supporting the Green Deal, they don't see, they do not agree and support this reform of the single European sky, which is so obvious, an added value, both for our sector, for the European economy, and for our environment. But I still hope, and I have some promises, that we will see some progress on this important file later this year. In the meantime, we need to work on rolling out available technologies that can support improved flight efficiency wherever possible. The support of CESAR Joint Undertaking and Deployment Manager are key in this respect. We have a real chance to get aviation back on track after the troubles of past years. So we cannot afford to repeat the chaos of last summer. This would severely dent consumer confidence. Aside from the ATM challenge, staff shortages and discontent were the cause of much of last summer chaos. Continuous social dialogue is key in this respect, and I appreciate the efforts that I know you are doing. On our side, the Commission remains committed to social dialogue as a cornerstone of the EU social market economy and competitiveness, and we have presented recommendations on further strengthening and promoting social dialogue through concrete actions. We are also doing what we can to support recruitment and maintain quality employment in the sector, alongside horizontal measures such as the European Skills Agenda. We have set up a forum for assistance and exchange of good practices within, for example, our platform for change women in transport. Also, our agency, EASA, is working on harmonized rules for training and a safety culture for ground handling staff, and it is in the process of developing training and licensing requirements for air traffic controllers. This would make the staff more mobile, helping to address shortages. A word on passenger rights. Of course, building up consumer confidence also means ensuring that their rights are properly safeguarded. The frameworks we have in place are already among the strongest in the world. But post-COVID, we are looking at what we can do to fortify them further still. You know that we will present a new legislative proposal, and I would like to thank A4E and its members for participating so actively in our stakeholder consultation. We have taken note of your views on issues such as liquidity, on tickets bought via intermediary vendors, on multimodal journeys, and more. Also share your frustration that our 2013 proposal on air passenger rights is not moving in the Council. I can, however, tell you that any future proposals will not alter the one already on the table. Decarbonization. very high on a European agenda. Long term, this is the biggest challenge for aviation. I see some worrying trends, with some member states touting demand limitation measures. I myself do not see flight bans or caps as a viable option. They will only serve to restrict citizens' rights to free movement, damage regional connectivity, and hamper aviation's ability to invest in its decarbonization. From my perspective, we have three credible pillars of action: cleaner fuels, fleet renewal, and of course, greater flight efficiency, which I have already touched upon. When it comes to clean fuels, I'm pleased to say that the Parliament and the Council are nearing an agreement on our RefuelEU Aviation. Sustainable alternative fuels have a huge decarbonization potential for aviation using existing infrastructure and aircraft. Our proposal will help ramp up production and uptake of SAF in the EU, both biofuels and e-fuels. In fact, RefuelEU is already having a remarkable effect on the SAF industry. So many projects have been announced in recent months, and many more are waiting for the regulation so that they can press the start button. Of course, we need to make sure that we have in place a sufficiently attractive framework conditions for companies to want to produce SAFs here in Europe at a reasonable cost. That is why we fought hard to get SAF technologies recognized as net zero technologies in the Commission's recent Net Zero Industry Act. This will give a regulatory boost to accelerate projects in the pipeline, while the Net Zero Europe platform can help to prioritize investments and overcome financing bottlenecks. Naturally, private investments across the board will remain essential given the massive investment needs. And the key role of public institutions is to make those sustainable investments more attractive so we can speed up decarbonization. To this end, our shared commitment to zero-emission aircraft is clear from the billions of euros committed through partnerships like the Clean Aviation Joint Undertaking and the Zero-Emission Aviation Alliance. Still, developing and commercializing these technologies will take at least 15 years. Replacing the entire fleet will take several decades more. This is why we need transitional technologies, SAF, but also most efficient aircrafts. Switching existing fleets to the latest generation, best-in-class aircraft can grant us immediate CO2 savings of around 25% per flight. And this is not small saving in the face of the looming climate emergency. Not to mention that these planes will have to be compatible with 100% SAF use as of 2028. So these transition aircraft actually have the potential to become zero emission. However, today, given the long lifespan of aircraft, the price differentials, and the fragile state of airline balance sheets post-COVID, there is little incentive for the airlines, to replace the fleet earlier than needed, especially if there is no recognition of these efforts to decarbonize. That is why I welcome the recommendation of the EU's platform on sustainable finance to include aviation in the EU taxonomy. This can be a game changer in helping the sector make the switch to cleaner planes as swiftly as possible. I need to thank you, and I'm proud on the aviation sector in Europe on stepping up to the challenge of decarbonization. I know that this comes at a cost and therefore places you at a competitive pressure from third countries with lesser climate ambition. However, I can assure you that the Commission will continue to push for a global level playing field. We all want a strong aviation sector, part of a sustainable and resilient transport sector. So I can assure you of my continuous support, and I wish you a very fruitful day of discussions. Thank you very much.